She was a very hot-tempered person as she was, but as much as I asked her what tasks I could help out with, she just refused to involve me in anything at all, and then complained that I wasn't helping enough. She argued and argued with me about how I didn't care, despite my efforts to be involved in all the prep. It was all very manipulative. Eventually, she actually pulled a knife out at me. I slapped it off her wrist, and she stormed off. When she left for work the next day, I packed my bags, took a taxi to the airport, and hopped out of there. Story 2. Hooked up with a girl. She acted really strange, flooded my bathroom, and gave me chlamydia. Hooked up with a girl in a nightclub. We went back to my place. She was being really weird on the walk over there, but I thought nothing of it because I was really drunk. Only realized she was being weird when I thought about it later. We get back to my place, have sex, then I fall asleep. My roommate is woken up by noises from downstairs. He gets up, opens his door, and yells down the stairs. Roommate, hello? Girl appears at the foot of the stairs with wet hair and wearing only a towel. Girl, where is everyone? Roommate, what do you mean? Girl walks up the stairs straight past my roommate and into his room while looking around. Girl, everyone is gone. Where are they? Where is he? Roommate, what are you talking about? Are you looking for him? I'll show you to his room. Roommate walks girl back down the stairs and shows her to my room. She walks into my room and that was it, or so my roommate thought. He went back to bed, but he couldn't sleep, thinking about the encounter. Then he remembered all the loud noises and decided he should check that everything was okay downstairs in the living room. He goes downstairs, checks the living room. Nothing out of the ordinary. Checks the kitchen. All good. And then he checks the bathroom, and what he found was chaos. The bathroom was flooded with water at least 3 inches high, according to my roommate. He might be exaggerating. The door for our shower was torn off, there was a towel in the toilet, and the entire bathroom was littered with all of our toiletries. She had clearly used my roommate's razor, although I failed to understand where, because as I remember, she was shaved all over. Anyway, my roommate freaked out, thinking about water damage, and spent over an hour cleaning and drying up the bathroom at 4 a.m. Needless to say, he's given me some crap about it. The girl was gone when I woke up the next morning. Haven't seen her since. Oh yeah, she also gave me chlamydia. Fun times. Story 3. I had a stalker in college. I worked at a coffee shop. This lady would come in every day and order a coffee. Every single day. She was so dedicated to stalking me that she would even go in on my days off and order coffee. I would always be like, "Hey Rachel, I'm not into you." And she would always respond, "I'm just ordering coffee, you creep." But we know what she was really saying. No, but seriously, in my 20s, slept with a girl on a one-night stand. We did kind of hang out after as she was a cool person. But one day she asked where I was and I said I was working and she said, "No you're not, I saw you on the train." And I said, "I know, I took the train to work," and she lit my car on fire. That escalated quickly. Story 4. Dated this girl who I later found out to be literally a compulsive liar and also into witchcraft. After not being able to deal with her insanity anymore, I broke things off. She would wait outside my door for God knows how long until I came home and say she left something at my house. This happened a lot. One day I was going to add a new email account to my phone and realized that her email account was still saved on my phone. I shouldn't have checked it. But she was actively stalking me and I needed to know what I was up against. There were tons of emails to some witchcraft lady she found online somehow, all about me. She was paying this internet witch like hundreds of dollars an hour for what I would consider witch consulting. It was all about me. How to cast spells to get me back, how to enchant me, how to curse my new girlfriend, all kinds of crazy stuff. She was using this lady as a weird therapist almost, asking her a bunch of relationship questions and stuff too. And this went on for months. The witch lady was getting a little annoyed with her, I could feel, although she couldn't complain that much because she was draining her for literally thousands of dollars. She told the witch that at some point I told her she needs to seek professional help. The witch actually told her that might not be a bad idea, LMAO. She ended up moving into the house of a mutual friend, this girl from school that was literally one building away from mine. My friend told me that she was always burning weird spices and candles. It was at the direction of the witch actually. It was all creepy, and eventually she cut my brakes. Story 5. I fell asleep sitting next to one of my friends on the way home from a school field trip in 12th grade. I woke up to her using my hand to play with herself. As I began to regain consciousness, she threw my hand at me and made a huge scene about it. I never talked to her about it and bothers me to this day. Definitely top 3. Story 6. Met a girl at a bar and we ended up back at her place. We had sex and fell asleep. She seemed normal at night and I saw no red flags at all. I definitely would have dated her again until she went crazy. I woke up around 5 a.m. and started getting dressed to leave. I had to get home and get ready for work. She woke up while I was dressing and totally freaked out. She was screaming angrily, "You can't leave." I explained I needed to go to work and that I'd call her later, and she was having none of that. Then she attacked. I literally had to physically fight my way out of her apartment with a few scratches on my arm for souvenirs. I have no idea what her deal was and I never went back to the bar I met her in. Story 7. I was probably around 9. It was at church after one service and there was this new lady there who took a liking to me. She was the new wife of the minister. We were outside waiting for the grown-ups to come out. I think they were having a meeting inside, and this new lady took me to a bench nearby. We sat and asked me lots of questions, then she put my head on her lap and stroked my hair while humming a lullaby like I'm a baby. It felt really uncomfortable and I really wanted to escape, but I was a shy little boy and didn't want to offend her or something. Saw my sister from afar snickering at us. It went on for like 30 minutes but it felt like hours. I was dying of cringe inside. Story 8. A blind date. The talk was okay over dinner, edit that she kept mentioning her dashing. She had sweaters for it, a separate purse-like bag to carry it in, etc. Then she looked at me and said, "I really like my dog." I said I gathered that. She looked at me very starkly and said, "I don't think you understand. I really like my dog." I paid for the food, wished her well and we went our separate ways. Maybe that was her way of ending the date, I don't know, but I didn't need to know either. She wasn't ending it, she was easing you into a threesome. Story 9. My ex was bisexual and at a party she tried making moves on my younger sister, who was only 15 at the time, ex was 17, and touching her without permission. I got angry and told her to stop, so the party ended soon after that. A week later, not only did she not apologize, but she also tried to organize a meetup involving both me and my sister along with a few friends, so I told her I don't want her near me or my sister again. This made her so angry she called me on the phone and told me she had a knife and if I keep acting this way, she'll use it. She also said she was on the way to my house, right now. I was freaking the hell out at this point, but I was hoping she was just bluffing. However, sure enough, 20 minutes later, she arrived right outside my door. I texted her saying I wasn't going to let her in, but she kept ringing the damn doorbell constantly. I texted her again and again to go away before eventually saying after a few minutes that I would call the cops if she didn't leave right now. This finally got her to leave. Luckily, I haven't seen her since. Story 10. Probably not as exciting as most here, but still super freaking weird. I was staying at my friend's house, sleeping in his guest room. The friend is at work, his girlfriend is at home. One thing about this room is that it has a very heavy door that has to be held open by something super heavy or else it slams shut. Well, I sleep with the door closed. And I wake up in the morning as I do every morning. I lay there for a bit longer before actually getting out of bed. Well, this time, all of a sudden, I see the door open. The light is still off, but the hallway light being on means I can see if someone's standing in the doorway. I have my eyes kind of open and I can see that she's just standing there in the doorway staring at me. I didn't move. I wanted to see what the fuck would happen because this was thoroughly freaking me out. So she just stood there for at least 10 minutes, didn't look away, didn't walk around the room. I was just laying at a weird angle where I could see her perfectly. She could see me but she couldn't see that my eyes were half open. I thought she maybe have been there to grab something because there's a bunch of stuff in the closet, clothes and such. But nope. 10 minutes I waited for her to do something or to walk out. Finally, I flinched and feigned waking up and I heard her run out and the door slam. I got up and went into the kitchen and she was as bubbly as could be, acting as if nothing happened. Acting like she didn't just spend 10 minutes watching me sleep. Is your buddy's girlfriend a freaking cat? Story 11. Met a girl at a party. We flirted. Then we ended up in my bedroom. This was in my apartment. Heavy make out. I suggest having sex but she declines. Heavier making out. Basically including anything that's not intercourse. I suggest having sex again and she declines again. Fair enough. We stopped making out and planned to see each other again. The day we were supposed to meet, she stood me up. I had cooked and it was already time to meet. She told me that she doesn't want to see me again because I wasn't pushy enough. She liked men who were less soft and gentle. She basically told me that when she said no, I shouldn't have listened. Story 12. My one and only Tinder date. Turned out she had signed her divorce papers that day. On the date, she laid out her one-year plan for us to date and get married. Let her know I wasn't interested in a second date. She thanks me for my opinion and declines not having a second date. Very luckily, I hadn't been able to meet her at my house at the start of the date like she'd suggested and we had to meet someplace neutral. I don't like to think what would have happened if she'd known where I'd lived. Considering that I'm not attractive or rich or otherwise someone women are usually interested in, this was a very weird situation. It was just a, "Hi, I don't know anything about you but we're going to be married by the end of the year. No, your opinion isn't relevant." Story 13. I've told this before. Little after I turned 21 and was at the bar with some friends shooting pool and enjoying a beer. This group of rough-looking 45-plus-year-old women comes in. They slowly make their way over to the same side of the bar. We keep minding our business and having fun. I'm standing at the end of the table when I feel a hand slide down the back of my pants and boxers and grab my A***. Then she screeched out loud, "Boy, your mama raised you right." Then walks back to her friends all proud. The bartender kicked them out shortly after and my buddies were cool. They didn't give me crap about it. We were all just like, what the F***k. I never groped some random person like that. I'm sorry to all the women who do get groped like that. It just completely catches you off guard and it's meant to be a compliment but just makes you feel used and revolting. Story 14. Cut off all of her pubes. Put them in between layers of scotch tape. Cram them in an envelope with a pair of her used panties and put the envelope under my windshield wiper. And there was a note. Read something like, "I know we can't be together but now you'll always remember me." She was right. Story 15. So me and a friend, both about 12 at the time, had a car with 3 women pull up who tried to get us to go with them for a quote-unquote good time. The woman who got out of the car was flashing her tits and rubbing herself. It was just kind of surreal. We both just noped the hell out. I'll never forget the girl in the back seat flashing her tits as they drove off. Looking back, it feels more sinister than it did at the time. A car filled with pedophiles is pretty sinister indeed. Story 16. Wearing my university sport jacket when I went to grab a fast food order. Some woman I'd never seen before shouted hi and waved at me like we were best friends. Gave an awkward, confused wave back and left with my food. A couple of hours later I get a friend request on Facebook from someone I recognized as her. Best guess is she saw my jacket and stalked the sport roster to find my name and added me from that. Got blocked real quick. That or on a first date she asked, "If you're going to kill me, how would you do it?" "I know how I would kill you." Then proceeded to tell me her plan on how she would kill me and get away with it. Story 17. When I was 17 eating a slice of pizza in a pizzeria in New York. I was sitting facing the glass looking out to the street. The time was around 7 p.m. It was getting dark and I'll never forget this 50-something-year-old lady who was walking on the sidewalk. Saw me eating. Slowed down. Stared straight at me with the most seductive grin and then winked. Then continued on walking. Until that point in my life I had never felt so many emotions at once. I was turned on and weirded out, intrigued, scared, and this was just a day I'll never forget. She had black hair and was pretty hot. Story 18. Played an MMO game for a while where you could join 5 guilds. This lady was in 3 of them, was always nice and also very flirty with me. Our guilds use TeamSpeak a lot and the 2 of us got to talking. Turns out though we lived a few hundred miles and an international border away. We shared a crap ton of interest too. She claimed to be in her 20s and I was over 30 at the time. We became friends though she made it very clear to everyone that she wanted more. In fact, she referred to me as her nickname I went by in that game. I found out she was going to be traveling to an area near me right around her birthday, so I offered to meet her in a public setting. That's when she dropped it on me. It wasn't really in her 20s. She was turning 16. Technically over the age of consent, but yes, still a kid. Even if there weren't legal issues, I simply was not interested in dating anyone that young. I have a 5-year rule. I only date people that are within 5 years of me. So I had a long talk with her. Explained I was damn near twice her age and while her interest in me was flattering, I wasn't interested. She was devastated. Crying, telling me I was making a mistake because she would be the best girlfriend, future wife possible, and that age was just a number. Finally I told her that in 2 years when she turned 18 and brought proof of that, I would consider going on a single date with her. If she was really that serious, and that if all went well I would consider making an exception to my 5-year rule. But under no circumstances, absolutely no circumstances, would I ever date or even meet with someone that was under 18. She wasn't happy but eventually accepted that was the best she would get, and we stayed in touch even after I left the game. Fast forward almost, but not quite 2 years, she's finally found a boyfriend. She hits me up on TeamSpeak. She wants me to travel up there to meet them because in her words she wants me to know exactly what the hell I missed out on by unfairly and unreasonably turning her down. Age is just a number and shouldn't have gotten in the way, blah blah blah. She has since become more normal, but yeah, those 2 incidents really creep me out. No, I have never dated her. I dated other women I'd met in games before then. Never have since. Story 19. Went down to CVS to get my dad's medication at like 9 at night. While waiting for the cashier to come back, 2 old women in line made conversation with me. Unprompted they started feeling on my shoulders and arms. Pulled the "I have a girlfriend" lie while trying to be nice so no trouble would happen. Inside I was extremely creeped out. As if she had a sixth sense, the cashier reappeared out of nowhere so I could pay and leave, giving the two women a glare in the meantime. They gave my biceps a squeeze before leaving me alone. Felt so dirty I took a shower after I got home. Next time I saw that cashier I thanked her. "No problem," she said. Gave her a tip. Story 20. A woman who worked in my department years ago, who I'd spoken to maybe just once or twice but really didn't know very well, was walking toward me through our shared parking lot one afternoon. Not long before she was terminated apparently. On passing each other we exchanged what I heard to be pleasantries, although I'm sure now she probably said something else I didn't actually hear. Suddenly and without any solicitation, after continuing another 10 or 15 yards in her way, she yelled back across the parking lot loudly and clearly enough for anyone in earshot to hear. "I'll wax my ass for ya." I did not in fact ask her to do so ever, nor did I desire at any time in the future that she do that. Understandably, I'm still unclear even today as to what prompted her rejection. Story 21. Well, here goes. I'm in high school and we're having PE. A girl that I hardly know asks me, "Hey, you want to see my ass?" and I say no. She then proceeds to pull her whole pants down right in front of 30-odd students and the PE teacher. Everyone was just like, "What the foo?" and she just pulls them back up and walks away as if nothing happened. Story 22. In junior high gym class there was a girl who would brazenly walk up to me or my friend and put her hand down her pants. It was gym class, so we'd be wearing short sweats or generally loose-fitting clothing and say things like, "Ooh, you big for a white boy." My friend and I would brush it off with some comment about how much trouble we'd get in if we did that to someone else. Junior high was a strange time. Story 23. I had a girl come into my dorm room and try to have sex with me when I'm passed out drunk. I didn't even find out about it until a long time after it happened. I found out through my girlfriend at the time, when she got upset because she found out a close friend of mine and I had sex before we met and I never told her about it. She then started asking about other girls I hooked up with that we hung out with, and I told her that she was the only one. That's when she said, "Don't lie to me, what about this girl's name?" I seriously had no idea what she was talking about, and then she told me the story. She heard about it before we started dating because they were friends. Apparently one day the two of them and another friend were on a porch swing that was in the middle of our quad. They saw me walking to the cafeteria and my girlfriend made a comment about how she thought I was attractive. That's when the other girl started almost bragging about when she went to my room to hook up with me, and in my room, and she started giving me a bull but left because she didn't get me to stay hard. The way she told it made it seem like I wanted it and just had, but the truth is that I have no memory of this happening and would have never wanted to have sex with her in the first place. I did not find this girl attractive at all, and in fact I found her pretty annoying. I'm almost certain she was not saying crap either because she knew that it was uncircumcised. My girlfriend was really understanding about the whole thing and apologized that it had happened to me. During her freshman year some guy tried to force himself on her and she only got away because she came with someone else who heard her yelling for him to stop. She reported it to security, but the only thing they did was make it so that he wasn't allowed in her dorm and she wasn't allowed at the campus housing he was at. I never reported what happened because so much time had passed and I didn't think they would believe me or even do much about it because, well, I was a guy. I'd never heard of a case of a girl sexually assaulting a guy on campus, which I now realize could be because no one spoke out about it for the same reasons. However, it really creeps me out now thinking about it, and the fact that she possibly could have done it to more people too, because I'd definitely seen her all over really drunk eyes at parties. Story 24. I met this girl when I was out one night. She was nice and seemed normal, went to her house and there were pictures of me around her mirror. I would probably ask her for a pen and sign my picture. What a fan.